Good morning, Run Junkies. Welcome to Runners Without Limits TV. It is Fort Collins Fortitude 10K Labor Day Classic race day. Let's have some fun today. Race start is about 40 minutes. I should be running within the hour. Makes me really happy. It's a brisk 50 degrees right now. However, given that the sun is bright and there isn't a cloud in the sky, it is going to heat up fairly quickly today. It's all right, because I hope to be done before it gets too hot. It is gorgeous this morning. Actually, the weather couldn't be more perfect at the moment. So I'm going to make my way to the start line, if I can find it, and get myself warmed up, get this party started. Here we are. Are you ready? She's gonna be on the channel now. So here we go. We're at the Fortitude 10K. It is gonna be a great morning. It's 50 degrees right now. It's supposed to be 60 degrees by the time we end.
1 minute. We're in the sun now.
Exactly. Yay! Yay, race day! Oh, geez, I stepped on it.
Thank you. Good morning, CB Wave. You doing good? You ready to kick some butt?
It's fun to look out in the crowd and see all these great runners and all a bunch of my friends. So, get them.
Thank you guys for helping to bring running, live running, in-person running back to Fort Collins this morning. Thank you for being here. That's a good sound to hear, isn't it?
Fortitude 10K done and done. Unofficial time 1:04:39, I believe, which totally happy with. Hit my beat goal, which was somewhere in the 1:04 range. I'm totally fine with that. I beat Boulder on the Run. That was my bare minimum today, and I'm very, very happy with that. I came out way too fast. Somehow I ended up on the front line, so I might end up with pictures of myself, me and Jenny. Ended up on the front line right off the start line. Ended up going out a little bit too fast. Got really excited, feet turned over really fast. First mile ended up at a 9:38, which is not a good thing. Yeah, okay, I set a record, but I knew I couldn't sustain that. In the first 5K, I really was going too fast. Really tried to make myself slow down, and I couldn't slow down. Because I set that pace for myself. So, what I ended up doing was just kind of like hold this pace, all the way through. And I got to a point where I'm like, whatever you do, don't slow down. Just don't slow down. There were a couple of moments or actually don't slow to a walk. There were a couple of moments where I really wanted to. I ended up just hanging in. I never slowed to a walk. There's nothing wrong with walking, but I knew that if I had slowed to a walk, I wouldn't want to continue running that hard pace. So I kept going. I definitely positive split. Got to the last turn, and I knew I was in the final stretch. I had about a third of a mile to go, and you can see the finish line for that whole third of a mile right back that way. So it was really challenging to get the pace going. I played the last song, I just pulled it all out, and I just booked it to the finish line. I just fast turnover. I don't know that I sprinted, because I don't think I could have at the time, but just kind of grinded it out for the last quarter of a mile. It felt really good to finish. It hurt. This one hurt, but I'm very happy with how this one turned out. So more to come. Yay. Not a PR, but it's a great benchmark. I have one dog under here, and I have another dog in there with her lunch. Okay, so some final thoughts on the race itself. All right. Yes, I made the mistake of going out too fast. It's very common, right? A lot of us do it, but even I still have issues with it. I honestly don't know the last time I really ran a smart race in the first 2 miles. There was a moment in mile 2 where I felt like, yeah, maybe I could PR because I was going so fast. That wasn't even on the table. That was never a goal. And I very quickly talked myself out of trying to do that. So going into the last few days of taper, I wasn't feeling all that great. I wasn't getting good sleep. My nutrition and hydration were hit and miss. And I was kind of afraid I wasn't going to perform well, like at all. And it wasn't the taper crazies. It was more of a problem of what was happening with life circumstances. So I had some doubts going into race morning. Now the race start was perfect. It felt, even just for a moment, like things were back to normal. I was really happy to be back on a start line again, kind of being around other runners and the buzz of race day, that excitement. It all felt so good. Now the first 3 miles, I did have to rein it in after the first mile. Like I said, I went out too fast. I had water with me, so I was able to cruise through the water stops, and I was able to run the tangents really well. So the miles on my watch almost perfectly lined up with the mile markers on the course. Now the second half was a bit tougher, and it just felt long. They also had kilometer markers out there, and those felt like they were so far apart. So I made myself continue running, but in mile 5, I slowed to my easy pace, what I usually kind of do all of my runs at, just to recover for a little bit before the final turn. Now, even the last third of a mile, I went hard enough, but I kind of ran out of steam just before the finish line. I really did. I left it all out there. And I will say that I was really kind of tuned into my music and tuned into what my body was doing, paying attention to my paces. I wasn't really paying attention to what was happening with the spectators or what was going on around me. I was noticing, I was aware, but I didn't interact as much with others as I usually do. I was just super focused. I was very determined to do well in this race. And frankly, that kind of concentration, it took a lot just to keep going at that pace. Like I said, I did make some mistakes, and I actually broke down a couple of them with my former coach, Christine Hinton. This week's podcast actually goes into some of the strategies around racing a 10K, so I'm going to leave a link to that podcast in the description. But overall, I am extremely happy with where I landed on this one, and I feel like I have really good data and a really good benchmark to move forward. And so now that Fortitude 10K is over, I can now turn my sights on what is to come. And I'm happy to say that includes the road back to Run Disney. And starting next week, my new training series begins as I prepare for the Wine and Dine 2 Course Challenge, which is the 10K and half marathon on back-to-back days. And I'm doing the same at marathon weekend in January. I'm doing the 10K and a half marathon as well. Now, after Fortitude training showed me the value of training for shorter speed efforts with fewer runs per week and a little bit higher intensity, I want to stick with that. I've been training by heart rate and base building for so long. So even though I have 2 multi-day challenges, on the horizon, which require a slight tweaking of the training, I want to keep my speed up. And even better, I want to see if I can reclaim some of my speed from a few years ago. That's going to be a stretch. It's going to take some time. So I have some ideas of what I want to do for Wine and Dine, but I really haven't really nailed those down yet. So I will let you know during the new training series. So please be sure to subscribe and click the notification bell for more information. Anyway, that is going to do it for me today. My question for you today is this: are you ready to race again? Please leave thoughts, questions, comments, and suggestions for future videos in the comment section down below. Please subscribe. Thanks for watching. Until next time, remember, you have no limits. Happy running.